Oh, I think it's time for a bit of scrub-a-dub-dub with tea here. Let's see there. I'm at Eccleston St Mary the Virgin Church. And Eccleston's just behind us up there. You go to Galloway's, you get a good bit of food, a bit of grub, a bit of brekkie, you know, get a pasty. And we'll just come down here to see this because, as you know, TE here has been around this area doing the Centurion tank and Lost Ark Hall videos and a few other videos. And 2 nights ago, on I think it's the 19th of June, it's the 21st today, it was the longest day today. 2 nights ago, on these very steps here, a very famous, or should I say well-known YouTuber fell over on those steps. And why he fell over was not because he was clumsy, and it was to do with this famous YouTuber. He's called Exploring with Fighters, Dan Dixon. Tell you what, he's a bit of a legend in the YouTube community. Does many a good video, and he actually does a few videos with a friend up in Cumbria. You know, he's been about a bit. Now, what Dan does, Dan is an urban explorer, so he goes around the world going in abandoned places, a bit like what I do with my railway history, but he goes everywhere, you know, abandoned hospitals, asylums, manor houses, anything will float his boat. But the recent thing what floats his boat is this app on his phone called Randonautica. What only started last year, and it's a strange app where I forgot what you call them. You put like words, like key words in it. You know, you can say something and it will drop a pin, and you'll go to this pin and you'll find someone or find something or anything. You know, and 2 nights ago they were playing this game and they came here, and I was sat in my hotel room up there. And I was like, oh, I know where that is. I've just been past there doing a TE video. So the last day before we go home, we thought we'd come and have a look and see where this magical video, what Exploring Fighters, and he had Proving Demons with him, Andrew, came and to a pin on this Randonautica app, and it was here. But what was very exciting about here is this thing here. They went in to find the pin. I was up there, I think near that white grave, and they found a few 24s there. Their intention for that night was 42, and it brought them here, and they didn't find anything. They found a few 24s on the graves, but when they were walking back out, and it was Proving Demons, Exploring Fighters with Stevie D there, who was Dan Dixon's dad, and he had his brother James were there, who was the Forgotten Past, and they came out here, and Dan fell over here with Andrew behind him because he said, oh, I saw something, did you see that? And in here, about here, there was a man just stood looking at him, and his big Audi Q7 sat here, but there was a man here, and he fell over, and he were, oh, and he was like, oh, and they all ran back into the car here, got back in the car.
Whoa. No. What? Oh God. Just get in the...
And there was a man here, and he looked like, to me, he looked like a monk. He had no hair, and he had as what they said, he had a robe on. And he looked like a bit of a monk.
Okay.
This is not moving.
Or he could have just been a local type from Eccleston, and that's what they wear around here, you know. He could be just hanging out. But it was 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and he was stood there, and they all ran back in the car, but he sat in the car and looked at him for a bit, and then he went up there towards Leyland, and he stopped, and I think Dan went, hello, and nothing happened, and then they raced off back to Leyland. So this was on a Randonautica app video, this very place here, with these little steps. But we're going to take you, we're going to have a bit of a nosy around and see what we can find. But see, we just tucked, you know, Dan's, well, nice Land Rover there, 2A. You know, Dan's fans, there was quite a lot of fans out there, you know, they'd be touching this ground now because Dan stood on this, you know, and they'd be touching this here, you know, he's fell over here, you know. They'll be loving this, proper true fans. And he got something in his hand, he got a thorn in his hand off these steps. And he was swearing, and he got this, you know, and he got this thing in his hand, and he was bleeding. And he dropped his camera, and his cameras all get messed up. But yeah, this is, you know, the people pay a lot of money to be here. Maybe that's what Dan should do. Dan shouldn't, like, you know, he does his videos, but maybe he should do a fan meet-up where he takes them to places like this. I think that'd be a good idea. But we're going to have a nosy in, but then we're going to take you somewhere where you already know. Before we'll go and have a look at the church, this behind us, this arch, or, you know, what you want to call it, porch, it's a lich gate. Now what it's for is, probably lots of people know this, or probably not lots of people do know this, and why churches have them, is when there's a funeral service and the hearse pulls up, or like an old hearse, you know, horse and cart, you know, it will come here on the other side, and the lich gate here, you'll put the coffin in here, probably a cross, it will sit in here, so it will keep it dry, you know, if it's raining, and then all the people stand outside waiting, and it sort of sits in here, and it's sort of its holding area before it goes in and goes into the ground. So this is what it's for. You know, and every church has one of these. There's probably a few what don't have these, but there's quite a lot of them what do. So this is what it's for, and even this is made out of sandstone as well. Pretty good. Even got a little light up there. I think this is where Proving Demons said, oh, there's a 2-4 on there, and there's a 2-4, and they were walking around there looking for this pin, but they never found it. I think it was just someone put a random pin here because the guy was stood in the gateway there. I think he was the pin. But they came round there, just think, they came here. But to be honest, you know, it was probably a bit dark for them to really see, but Eccleston, St Mary's Virgin Church is a wonderful architecture, isn't it? With sandstone built, I think. You know, a nice little clock on it, little blue clock with gold dial on it. Just think they walked through a nice historic church and they didn't even look at it. I know it's dark, obviously, but... Go on, let's go and have a closer look and see what we can find. Oh. It's 12 o'clock with TE, and that was the bell. That was your afternoon call. Ding! I think we'll go and have a look and see if it's open. Not a lot of churches have been open recently, but some have, you know, and I've been signing the TE name in it. You know, I was recently in Shropshire on a holiday and we went to a nice church, what we will see in a future video, and it's got a TE in the book. You know, I always like signing a church book and saying how wonderful they are. So we'll go and have a look and see if it's open. Oh no, it's not open today. A lot of churches are not being open for a long time, but some are, but this one obviously isn't. They've got all the signage up like it might be open, but obviously not. But it's quite an interesting porch, this. The floor is old gravestones. Still got names in them. So I think we'll go and have a look around gardens, you know, and graveyard. But they've got a World War I or World War II war graves there. That's probably for Eccleston. So the church we are at today is quite an interesting church in a way. But it's actually a lot older than you think it is. With the site it sits on, it's ancient, really ancient site it sits on. And even the church itself is mega old. But the place we're in, Eccleston. Now Eccleston, there's a lot of Ecclestons in UK. You know, there's Great Eccleston, Little Eccleston, and then there's Eccleston where we are today, and I think there's another Eccleston. There's quite a lot. But the Eccleston we're at today is in Lancashire, just south of Leyland. And Eccleston is a name what means the pronunciation of it and how it was spelt originally was the meaning of place or town, and it also means that it's called church town from the name. Now the site it's on goes way back to 1094 AD. So that's a really long time ago. But the building, the present building in its original form was in existence in 1182. And there's also good reason in believing that there may be being a Saxon church on this site, because the altar tomb rests a part of a Saxon cross, what they discovered in 1915. And it was the original building was enlarged in the 13th century by additional south aisle. You know, and it was then in 15th century. Yeah, so in the 13th, 15th, and even the 17th century, it was extended and made bigger to what we see today. And in 1996, the church was refurbished, so they had a big overhaul in 1996, so a year before TE here was born. And also what's interesting, what I've already talked about, the lich gate at the front, all the wood on it and the shingles on the roof are made out of one tree. One tree made all that lich gate. Don't say anything about the steps. I wanted to know what the steps were, because they look like gravestones to me, but I can't find anything. So if you know anything, what those steps are, what they're called, or what they're made out of, please drop a comment below and let us know, because I'd love to know what they are. You know, Dan Dixon fell over them, but yeah, I'd love to know what they are, because they look like they've made out of tombstones, because they've got writing on them, unless the writing's actually to do with the steps, you know. So yeah, that's a bit of a brief history on Eccleston St Mary the Virgin Church in Eccleston.
We got a factual interlude with Thomas Edward coming right up.
Oh, right, it's a bit of a TE, Thomas Edward interlude in Eccleston St Mary's Virgin Church, and it's about these trees there. There's 1, 2, 3, quite a lot of them. I think there's about 6 in here, maybe a bit more. And these, if no one ever knew out there or who's watching, these are yew trees. Now yews, from being a practical lad as myself, TE, you're not allowed to cut down yews. They're a protected tree and they live for many, many years. But if you do happen to find a bit of wood on the beach, what is a yew, or you get a bit of wood from somewhere, they're very, very hard and you can blunt your saw. So even if you got a chainsaw, they will blunt them. But I once talked to a woodman at I think it was like a bushcraft show up our way, and he said you can cut a yew up any age, and in the middle it's all very smooth. You know, you don't need a lot. It's a very fascinating tree when you cut them up, or wood I should say. But why they have them in churches, and I think that's why there's quite a few of them in here, they ward off evil. So today we are very protected in this church, you know, to keep all the bad spirits and things that go bump in the night all away, you know, and that's what they do, that's what the job is in a churchyard. So if you come to a churchyard and you see these kind of looking trees, they normally use. And what's also interesting about them is they grow a very, very long time. But they keep growing and growing and growing. Sometimes, you know, you go, oh, is that alive? And it is. You know, this is why all these bits go out. They're always growing all the time. They are. And also, sometimes they have berries on them. Don't eat them, because they're poisonous. So if don't do that. Well, I think it's time for a bit of scrub-a-dub-dub with tea here. You know, how much is it? £1? Buy time jet wash. You know, I might have to go and get power washed off. But this is the end of the TE video. Going looking at Eccleston Church and looking at a bit of showbiz. And if you've enjoyed it, give us a comment and a like. You know, and give us a subscribe. Get us up to 1,000 so we can really start the showbiz. And do even more local history videos. But if you really enjoyed today's video, remember to click that big bell.